Man, Birch, you put a whole new shine on the word overkill.
When you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune.
What is good, ladies and gents? UK Fuel Ninja. And guess where I am? Back here again. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit there, Mr. Gummer. And yeah, when you need it and you don't have it, boy will you sing a different tune. More tobacco, unfortunately. But have a look at this. This is my my grinder, because this is how desperate it has become. We have scraped that thing out. But it is as it is, and once it's completely gone, we'll have nothing left until harvest. But it's not the end of the world. Just was hoping not to be in this position again, but last year was not great at all. But all the plants are going quite well, I guess, all things considered with the weather. Huge arse like thunderstorm, hail and all sorts, and it absolutely smashed my plants, absolutely caned them. It completely and utterly took out like 2 of them, just shredded the leaves and then shredded the stem as well, so it was pretty powerful. I managed to actually get a whole barrel of water and 2 watering cans, and even then the water butt was still like overflowing. It's pretty epic, lots of lightning, and that's amazing when he unleashes the lightnings from the storehouse, how people tremble. We don't really live in a country where you get to see his might, but if you do, you'll feel very insignificant to the might of the Almighty. But nonetheless, we carry on. So yeah, after all this time, we have been working on something. There's probably quite a few people who are new here who maybe haven't seen what this channel was all about to start with. But nonetheless, obviously the last video, a little bit of an update on and who I am. It's yeah. So I didn't want to, when I first started to grow this plant, I didn't want to just grow just any old plant. What I wanted to do was make a plant that could grow in the wild here. So I went onto the interwebs, had a look around, went onto various seed banks, looked for various different strains. I was like, I can't really find anything that's going to work for me. So I stumbled my way into this forum, which was for breeders, and found this guy who ran a company called Hybrids from Hell. He has since long shut down. And I should have picked up some more of his seeds because he had them all on half price before, but at that point in time I had like nothing. It's like super poor. And not that I'm rich now, but it's not about monies. Yeah, so I picked up some seeds from him. I was really like, back end site, a lot better than anything I could do, but not a professional website by any stretch of the imagination. I bought some strains from him that I thought would suit my purpose. Really heavy sativas. Some of them had a bit of indica in them, but predominantly they were sativas. Grew them out. One strain I lost completely because they all died, and I ended up with Wild 3 and Wild Sativa something. I can't remember, I'd have to look back at the original videos I put up to tell you exactly what they are, because I named them all at that time. Because I do really clever things like that. I don't put names on stuff, so I got a whole bunch of plants growing, not a clue what they are. We'll figure it out as they grow and see what they turn into, I guess. But with the Gen 4s, what I did at the start of this year is in the winter, I went and put out a bunch of seeds and planted them just in the ground, just to see what would happen come the spring. Well, here is the result. Unfortunately, little fucking bastard slugs and snails have demolished everything. So, but nonetheless, all of them germinated and all of them survived over winter. So, this is a success. We are able to leave this seed out from the winter, freezing in the ground, snow and all that stuff. There's snow all over the top of these plants, all melted, and they've all germinated. Well, about a few of them have germinated anyway, but we can see now that the seeds are acclimatized and they will now grow. So this year, with the outdoor stuff, I'm toying with the idea that I just keep Scentsy in the backyard, and everything I grow out in the wild will be with seeds in it until I've got such a volume of seeds that I can start pulling males in areas and grow some of it to Scentsy. Because this year, because I went completely dry, I was smoking the stuff which I had seeded, which wasn't the best, but I found out that it's not actually that bad. Once you get all the seeds out, it's alright. I wouldn't if you can have it without seeds, that's much better, but even with seeds, it wasn't shocking. This stuff, yeah, it hits hard. I'm not gonna lie, there's been a fair few times where I've smoked way too much of it and my eyes are going. I got hallucinations. I found myself just like standing like a zombie in the middle of a room, completely and utterly thinking of the Almighty, meditating, if you will, not emptying myself and allowing things to come in, but instead meditating on the Lord, which is what Psalms is all about. I'll teach you all about meditation if you go through Psalms, but nonetheless. So yeah, we have some success with that, which is pretty good. We have got in the backyard all of the new seedlings in the propagator, and about 90% of them have now germinated. They've all popped and they're all looking quite happy. So they will replace the ones that got killed. I sorted out all the plants that were in the black pots on that gravel board, from ones that I thought were not going to really do very much, and sorted them out, and then replanted a load of seeds into the dead and void ones. And I think this year what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just bury those pots in the ground rather than taking the plants out of the bags, kind of like what I do with the little white non-woven fabric bags, because I'm pretty certain when I come back at the end of the season to crop them, I'll be able to pull up the roots and the bag will just have all roots all mashed up through it, and I'll be able to just like trim them off and reuse the bag again. Probably get maybe about 3 seasons out of them, as long as I don't tear them up by pulling them out of the ground before I need to get new ones. But I think they're like 50p each, something like that. I think it might even be less than that, like 40p each or 30p each for those things. Obviously it stacks up when you buy 100, but yeah, it's a worthwhile investment, is what I consider anyway. The orange blaze maize seem to all be happy. I put little like plastic cut up bottles over the top of them to keep them safe from these fucking wankers. There's snails and slugs all over the place down here. I'm just, the crunching, if you can hear that, that's all. Yeah, fucking die, you know, bastards. They are malicious. I promise you, they are malicious and calculated, super fucking intelligent, and they come along and they just chew halfway up the stem. They eat none of the leaves, and the whole plant just goes timber, and then they piss off laughing. Like all of the little seedlings that germinated, what they didn't eat them, they didn't fucking eat them. They chomped right in the centre of the two leaves. So the two main little whatever they're called, doodad things, they were just on the ground. It's like, really? You didn't actually even eat it? Oh, dude. Let me show you this. Look at this. Fuck you. Yeah, malicious little things. There's all sorts of super fun things with these guys. Go and read about the thorns coming out of the ground and whatever. That's what these little pricks are. But yeah, anyway, enough raging about slugs and snails, I guess. There's my lighter gone. So yeah, if I confused anyone with the last video, it's not the intention. I was just pointing out who I am and what my purpose in all of this will be. Not that I'm looking forward to that. Brings me great sadness. That's what it does. Very, very great sadness. If I could ask for even one thing, it'd be that if I have to take someone down with those swords, that he would give me the Holy Spirit, that I can put them back together again, offer out my hand and say to them, go serve the one who resurrected you, and add another one to our side, rather than cutting someone down, as blood will be paid for with blood. Yeah, it's a heavy thing. It's a heavy thing. Anyway, so yeah, before you go rushing out to yourself and think, oh, do you know what, I wouldn't mind picking up one of those. Tell you to start with, I put myself in debt to get that thing, but I know what's coming. So that thing is an educational tool for those unlawful and lawless men who come a knocking. And I know as soon as that time comes, life for me will never be the same again. So we hope that doesn't happen. But nonetheless, we shall drink from the Father's cup and do what He asks us to do. So yeah, that thing, the marker T15. How can I put this to you? It's the most fucking frustrating thing in the entire world. The guys at First Strike, they basically decided. I should say this first. First Strike is not the original. They come from a company called Tiberius and changed names and owners and whatever. So it's Tiberius, and then became First Strike. And yeah, basically, what they've got on that thing is one set. Oh, fucking hell, 2 secs. There's a cyclist, a rampaging cyclist. I'm kind of trashing down here for all this muddy water and shit. They cover themselves in it. It's like, it's that fun. As fun as whatever someone finds joy in, I guess. It's yeah. So basically, half the Allen keys are EU standard, and the other half are American standard. So the amount of times that I fixed one problem to then find another problem, like for example the Cobra coil, the remote line. So the remote line that they sell comes with a quick detach nipple. However, the nipple in the quick detach is not the same nipple as in all other standard markers. So when I first got it and went to attach it to test it and do a bit of training, I was like, this fucking doesn't fit on the end. What the fuck's going on here? Went back, tried to take the nipple off and replace it. I was like, this nipple is not the right size. This shit does not fit on here. I was like, then going around contacting various companies, and then United Tactical, who are the owners and operators of First Strike, and yeah, they basically were like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to get a different nipple. So I went to, they gave me a link as from America. I was like, I fucking import this thing. Like, what the actual fuck? You sell this thing and it doesn't work with your marker. What's going on? So after 2 months, I'm pretty certain they delivered it by seagull or attached it to a fucking helium balloon and sent it off to me. It eventually arrived, and then I shot the video because I'd been waiting for them to arrive to do this. So what you can see in that video is the line, the remote line, is connected to the marker, and yeah, I couldn't get that shit off at all in the slightest. It's completely welded solid in there. Screaming, screwing, losing my shit, trying to get this thing off. Like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like, what is this shit? This is the same size as this one here, but a different threading at the end so it can actually screw in. And yeah, long and short of it is, I finally got it off and then put it back in, and it locked in again. I was like, oh dude. Managed to get it out again and then put it back in, and then there was like, dude, what is this? And then I've got like a Dremel, because I make, not that I sell any of it, but I make all my own jewellery and all of this stuff. Like, all of this I make it. None of the stuff I wear I buy from anyone. I make it myself. So yeah, I have this Dremel, and I got like polishing this. So I polished all of the shit that was coated in these two nipples off of it, and now they work perfectly fine. I was like, oh sweet, right, that's good. Connect up the marker to the line. Like, nice. Leak. Strip down the marker, take off the back plate, have a look at it, add lubricant to the O-ring to stop leaking. Like, put it back on. Like, what is this? What the fuck is the point of this? Like, this none of this works together, yet it all comes from the same manufacturer. Turns out it was just one little O-ring that had dropped off that I was unaware of. Really frustrating. So if you're thinking in your mind that you might want to go and get one of these, you're going to need to learn how to strip that thing down, put it back together, have spare parts, have an ability, because I've got a air pump, like a kind of like a oversized so PCP pump for an air rifle, to pump up the HP tanks. Where the tanks are empty, none of this stuff is stored in a ready way, because we don't pick this stuff up and go outside because someone said something that we don't like, or someone did something. The order to take that stuff out comes from the general. So when Christ says, we don't draw that stuff on anyone. You live by the sword and you'll die by it. Until he sanctions it, it stays where it is. And yeah, so anyway, I would suggest possibly, rather than that, maybe a bow, but you're going to need to learn how to string a bow. You're going to need to learn how to make a bowstring and all of this stuff, because once all this stuff comes rocking around, shops and stuff like that not be so open and available. So let's bear that in mind. This isn't a path for everyone. I would prefer to be the healer. I would much prefer to have been given the gift of laying of hands on people and healing them than being one to take someone's life. But who's going to protect that person to lay hands on those who need healing when the marauding hordes come? I'll say this. The Vikings, they're some pretty fierce and terrifying warriors, and they believed in Odin. Odin is actually just the fallen angels, the men of renown of old. How do you think that the people in the church today would combat something like that? Not very well, because they don't know him to be able to deal with that level of people, because surprisingly enough, the church has laid down its swords and laid its warriors to the side and basically told them all to lick the boot of Satan. So Here's what it is. Where's the strong men gone? Where's the fighters and the warriors gone? Oh, the church disbanded them and instead decided to welcome in the enemy and let them do all the things that they're doing. And these things happen because God works through the hands of men. If there's no man's hands working, then evilness arises, and that's how lawlessness has got to where it is right now. Anyway, we might have fallen asleep for a little while, but there's many more like me out there, though I don't know where they are. And the general calls, when we roll out, we'll be sent to meet each other. He'll guide us, just like in Exodus, so it shall be again. The circle goes round. Yeah, such it is. Well, anyway, I hope that you guys have been enjoying the spectacles that have been going on. I'm not going to talk about the news or any of that shit. Let those people do that. There's plenty of them out there. No updates of bollocks that's going on in the world. None of them are going to tell you what's actually going on though, because they don't actually know themselves. But it is exactly how it is meant to be. It is how it's meant to be. That's a really steep hill. Might not look at because it's on a video, but it's steep enough. Steep enough. Most of the time I really don't know what to say. Just wait and watch and see. It's not me, I'm not prophesizing. Don't know whether I have that gift. I think I would know if I did. I'm just literally just saying what he said would happen. So yeah, you can get your vaccine passport soon, and then will come the microchip. But it might seem like it's the mark of the beast, and I'm not suggesting that you go and get it. I would strongly suggest you would avoid this shit as best as you possibly can, and make your preparations and plans for how you're going to deal with it when it comes around. Because if you're serious, you might be sleeping in there, underneath this, looking for water, looking for food. But it'll be alright. There'll be plenty of us out here. They don't win. They certainly don't win. Anyway, the mark of the beast. That literally it can only come from the man of perdition. And the only way the man of perdition can come forth is when he is revealed. And how is he revealed? Well, he has to walk into the temple, which isn't there. And when he walks into the temple, he proclaims himself to be God, and is then proceeded to be worshipped as God. And then he says to build an image to his God, the beast, and then he goes forth and gives the mark out to everyone. And everyone who doesn't take the mark will have their head chopped. And to be honest with you, I'm down for that, because I don't really want to be in the world when what happens next comes. It would be nice to survive, because I'd like to see with my mortal eyes that get cracked open and the whole host of the heavens armies come rolling out. As I tell you, when the lion roars, the whole earth will tremble. These trees are going to get up and run. The rocks are going to run, because they know what is coming. It's that epic, like nothing that's ever been seen before. There is no movie, no CGI that could even come close to how epic that day is going to be. It'd be nice to see it with my mortal eyes, but I'll see it anyway, and everyone will see it, quick or quick or dead. You'll see it. This is all as real as those clouds up there. It's all as real as those trees. I know that there's religions that worship trees, but that tree there is real, and it was made. And that sky up there was made, and those fields down there, they were made too. And just because you don't know the one that made it, that made all of this, doesn't mean that there was not one that made it. This is not religion. Religion is like fairy tales. It's all fairy tales. I'm talking about the air that you're drawing in with your lungs, the heartbeat. Yes, what I can say, thinking of it, an helicopter over there. There's loads of helicopters around here. It's like Chinooks, Apaches, and all sorts of stuff. I don't know where they're going, but they all seem to come from over in like this direction, whatever direction that is. But yeah, so a lot of stuff has been stolen. Some of this stuff is taken, and you're not meant to do it, like, because it's poison to you. If you do these things, it will poison you. So like for example, summoning the dead, that's completely possible. You can do that. You really can do that. You'll have to find someone who has the ability to do it, because there's plenty of posers out there who say they can do it, but you find one who can do it, and you watch and you'll summon the dead. And how do I know this? I know this because Saul, the first king of Israel, before Samuel died, in the Book of Kings, you will see that Samuel said to Saul, "I'm going to die. Do not go to the witches and the sorcerers and try to summon me." And then there was the whole issue with David, and David killed Goliath. He was a giant, but giants don't exist, they're fairy tales. Well, in religion they're fairy tales, but in real life there's their bones and their skeletons and the cities and places that they built that you could go and touch with your hands. But can you touch evolution? Can you touch the Big Bang? Nope. But I can touch the very things that are written therein. So he summons Samuel, and Samuel then loses his shit because of what he's done, and dragged him out, because it wasn't a pleasant experience for Samuel either. And that's how he finally Saul came to his end, by turning to witchcraft. There's stars up there in the sky, and those stars have patterns, and they have star signs, and then you would call them your zodiac. And well, God, he put them there within your body, and you have the pineal gland, which is your third eye. Guess what? God put that there too. God then proceeded to make the cannabis plant, or cannabosum, which is incorrectly translated to sweet calamus, but sweet calamus is a water-dwelling plant, and in case you didn't notice, the Sinai isn't particularly known for its some little rabbits over there fighting. Isn't particularly known for its water. It was cannabosum, which is the cannabis plant. And Moses was, I guess you would call him, it would be incorrect, but a close thing would be a shaman, picking mushrooms, creating of the incense in the tent which was burnt, which contained various different plants of psychedelic nature, because God was the one that created this. Satan cannot create life because he is part of the creation. The Creator created all things. I tell you, it would not be worth a second of your time to be worshipping a God who, it would not be worth a second of your time to be worshipping a God that can be destroyed or was created. He doesn't exist where we are. He exists outside of this place, outside of time, because he created time. Where he is, we can't go, not here in this physical body. even when you're dead, you don't go to heaven. It's all these weird and wonderful things that you'll learn if you just read, and then I guarantee you'll be like, what the hell have I been told all of this time? Because you have to find it yourself. But yeah, I mean, when the angels came down, they taught men all about these things, and it corrupted man, and man then used it in evil ways. And it's like learning how to divine by the stars to predict the future, learning how to do it by cards, making makeup, making weapons, how to make things that burn really, really hot, all your chemistry. And the Book of Enoch will tell you all of them and tell you what they taught and who they taught it to, and then apply that knowledge to what you know about all the old gods. Apply that to your knowledge of what you know about all the superheroes of today. You'll see that they're all just one and the same. Even Batman is in there. There you go. Even Iron Man too. He's in there as well. It's anyway. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, we're not talking about religion here. We're not talking about the occult here. We're just talking about the nature of things of where we live, and the bare bones will give you all the information that you need to find your way. It's like I guess an overall map, whereas the other books they kind of drive into various different areas, but you have to test everything, because otherwise you will find yourself becoming a Mormon. We will find yourself becoming one of these other magical and wonderful people. And I can honestly and truthfully say to you that you're not going to find out that I'm a Freemason. You're not going to find out that I had some ulterior motive. I am just me on my own. Maybe if I tell you my testimony, maybe that will help for you to understand what is going on. What's going on with me anyway. So I didn't believe any of this, not one single thing. Didn't go to church. I've been dragged to church, but nothing more than anyone else, respectfully, who lives in this country would have been taken to church and heard all of this stuff. So I thought it was all very much a joke, and I carried my life on like most people did. Nothing really. I mean, teenager time, 15 years old, I was up in squat parties in London. If you don't know what a squat party is, it's not a rave. It's a derelict building where people are squatting, and sound systems and rigs get drawn in on the weekend, and they make their money in order to pay for food and clothes and all the rest of it. So when you go to these places, the bar is literally whatever they can find to set up a crate of beer on and then sell that. People just wander around saying pills, 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 weed, 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 ketamine, ketamine, ketamine. And when one of these people walk by, you just go, yeah, pay for it and carry on. The scene has changed a lot now. That was a long time ago. Really any particular issues. I just remember when I was like about 17, thinking to myself, do you know what? If I die, what I think happens is you just replay your life from when you die all the way back to when you start. And I thought to myself, I would be so happy if, like, when I get to this part of my life again, because this is so like awesome, the sound systems, the music, everything. My favourite rigs were always the dub rigs. Drum and bass rigs were pretty good, but that shit got fairly violent fairly quickly. I remember going to one party and I'm just like stomping in the middle of the floor off my face, and my mate comes up to me and he like taps me and goes, oh mate, you wanna we need to go. It's like, why? It's like, you need to look to your left and right. Look to my left, there's a gang on one side, look to my right, there's a gang on the other, and matey boys are sending one man across the room to the other man to do their little deals, and pretty much guarantee that by the end of the night, if we hadn't got out of there, we would have been the prey in the middle of those dickheads. Yeah, anyway, oblivious at that point in time. So anyway, life carries on and carries on and carries on. And I got to like 19, 20, stopped going out, got addicted to World of Warcraft. That shit sucked my soul out for 5 years. I was pretty good at it. Yeah, fuck that shit. And it was, ironically, I went to go and watch the movie Tron, the new one, and it hit me in that film that his dad never came back because he was stuck in a computer game. And I just realised that's me. I'm going to miss everything because I'm sat here stuck in this fucking computer game. So I took the discs, snapped them, chucked them all in the bin, and since then I haven't really ever played computer games since. However, that wasn't what happened. So life carries on, carries on, carries on. I get shitter and shitter and shitter. Want to just top myself. Want to just fucking kill myself. It's, yeah. So anyway, life carries on, carries on and carries on. And I start playing this game called Ingress. Basically it's made by the same people who made the Pokemon Go, but Pokemon Go basically is Ingress but Pokemon themed. And the company was running this game called Ancient Societies, and it wasn't released. And to be honest with you, I can see the reason now why it wasn't released, because it actually probably would have led to actual fights on the street, because what you did is you fought over areas as ancient civilizations. So you would join one of the civilizations that closely represented your race, and then you would have to like combat people to hold areas. So it's similar to Ingress but a little more violent. And Ingress got violent. People get real shitty when you take their portals down. So anyway, the game came with like this puzzle as it's in the pre-release, and it was like, oh, if you're the winner of the puzzle games that we put out, you'll be able to be beta testers. So I was like, yeah, I'm down for beta testing this game. That's pretty sweet. So what would happen is at 6 o'clock every night, you'd log on to the website and a picture would appear. You'd click on the picture, and hidden within the picture was a whole heap of puzzles. And you'd have to figure it out, and it would literally be like, just imagine like a screen capture of this, but inside of it there'll be like some weird little doodads, and you would have to then from this decipher what the answer is. Once you had the answer, or what you thought was the answer, you'd put stellar, or http stellar, the answer, and then / or .com. And then that would take you, if you got it right, to the winner's web page to say congratulations, you won. So that's the game progress. I got pretty good at that. I didn't win all the time, but I was always pretty high up there, at least in the top 20s. And there's a fair few people playing it. And then they formed these guilds, and then everyone could kind of work together. So then it just got mental, and everyone was just like, once someone figured the answer out, it would go around and everyone would just try to be the first one to beat everyone else to type it in. And then the game never got released, and instead they released Pokemon Go. So one of the days I solved the puzzle, and this little video popped up, and it was just a video on a page. And the video on the page was of, I'm not sure who it was, like Michael Jordan or one of these basketball players in America. And his face just kept fucking morphing into like lizard shit. And his eyes were going all fucked up. And I was like, whoa, what's this? No idea about any of this stuff at this point in time. And basically, oh shit, the battery's about to run out. So basically, I was bored one day, months had passed since then, and I started looking up this stuff as I had nothing else to do. So when I looked in it, lo and behold, if you seek, you shall find. And a load of information was presented to me that I could not deny at all. At all. And basically, I fell on my face in floods of tears, begging for forgiveness, because it had dawned on me the reality of the world in which I live. And that evening, having done this, you know when you think in your head, like you're probably thinking in your head now and you're having thoughts in your head, yeah, do you really know what that is? Do you know what that is? So anyway, this fucking voice was just deny everything, deny everything, deny it, deny it. And I was like, the actual fuck is going on here. And I was like, wow. And this would not stop. Deny, 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 over and over. Just deny it. None of it's true. Deny it. And I was like, I honestly thought I was going to need to go and check into some mental facility. It was that bad, like that fucking seriously bad. I thought something is really, really, really wrong with me. Like, what the hell is going on here? Because I wouldn't deny it. I was like, how can I deny what I have seen here? Like, that stuff I can touch with my hands. This is legitimate stuff that's there. And this one night, I just sat there with it as it's just going deny, deny, and just kind of spitting at me. And I was like, fuck you. And I threw fire at it, and I didn't like it. And I threw more fire at it. And I'm throwing fire at it in my mind, and then I consumed it. And it burnt, and it vanished, and no longer in my head. Completely, it was gone. Entirely disappeared from me. And instead, what was replaced was this humongous fanfare. Like nothing I have ever experienced in my life. It was like tingles of I don't even know how to explain it, erupted through me.